So here we have our quarterfinal matchup. It's going to be not those players. Names are off, but look at the players here. John DeBruin, the 4 seed, versus Jadine Klomparens, the 5 seed. This is Infect versus Jund. Jadine, our only Jund player here in the top 8. She'll be on the draw. So for John DeBruin, as the 4 seed, he gets to start out, land Noble Hierarch. Things going so far, well, so far so good. There we go. But Jadine will push down the mana creature. Made it. All right.
And honestly, Inkmoth Nexus is the most intimidating threat because Jadine knows so many sorcery speed things, and bad news on turn 2 is that's what DeBruin has.
He does. Jadine has kept a great hand for this matchup. Talks about how one of the reasons Infect fell from Grace was that it wasn't, there was the Gataxian Probe ban, that mattered, but the printing of Fatal Push just hurts this Threat Light deck. Jadine's opener has not 1 but 2 copies of Fatal Push in it.
And that's both in the deck. 1 already expended though. DeBruin has some counterplay. You have your Blossoming Defenses, Vines of the Vastwood.
Yeah, she just has 2 Fatal Push here. Fair enough, but that'll work. See a Fetch Shock for Stomping Ground.
John also has an Apostle's Blessing and a Spell Pierce in the main deck.
Jadine will take down shields this turn so that she can make Scavenging Ooze. Gonna take some poison. We'll see how much.
Presumably at least 1.
Pendelhaven made from DeBruin, at least 2. Pendelhaven activates Inkmoth. If you're tapping the Pendelhaven, that means you're up to something bigger. How about Might of Old Krosa, 5 poison across. So that's half of the life total, if you will. Jadine goes to 5.
And having 1 Fatal Push is fine, but once DeBruin's set up with excess green mana, you need to have 2 points of interaction.
Swing for the Scavenging Ooze. And you notice Jadine not pumping here, not eating the Noble Hierarch, suggests she might have Abrupt Decay and Fatal Push, something like that.
Well, that wouldn't be great because Abrupt Decay can't target Inkmoth Nexus.
All right.
But representing something like Kolaghan's Command.
Well, how about this, Ryan? John plays Breeding Pool for the turn, but actually did not even attempt an attack with Inkmoth Nexus. He's really respecting those removal spells.
Playing scared. Maybe his hand's just a little bit light. Looks like he's holding on to a Dismember. There is 1 in the main deck here.
Turn 4 for Jadine. Swings for 3 with the Bloodbraid Elf. You're right when you said Bloodbraid Elf is going to, with the Ooze. Bloodbraid Elf, despite being in Jadine's hand, is going to be hard to cast here. And Dismember from John will send him to 12, but will eliminate Jadine's threats.
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah, this is mana taxing that Infect does. You know, Jadine doesn't have a threat, but really can't make Bloodbraid Elf because she'd get killed on the swing back.
Fortunately for Jadine, though, I believe she's picked up a Lightning Bolt, so she does have 2 points of interaction.
Yeah.
Something to look out for, though. John is actually on 3 Become Immense, which is more than we've seen since the banning of Gataxian Probe from this deck. That matches up really well against Lightning Bolt.
And Jadine did, on the way out, exile some extra cards to Scavenging Ooze.
Yeah.
To try to keep those in check. Remember, deck lists are public in top 8 match. What she needs to do is she has these 2 pieces of interaction. She'll need to find a way to make a threat.
Yeah. If she can get up to 6 mana, Bloodbraid Elf, and then leave those up, that's pretty good. And with DeBruin not attacking, not committing other creatures, you're a little bit set up to be able to do that, assuming that you have more lands. It'd be a little aggressive if Jadine had a 5th land and cast the Bloodbraid Elf, but with nothing happening up to this point, that might be forgivable.
Yeah, just 4 cards into DeBruin's hand.
But if Jadine starts drawing things like Kolaghan's Command, that makes her position even better.
And that's what she just drew.
Would still like a 5th land, but that's still fine.
John draws a card, a 5th card says go. It is stressful to play against Infect, to say the least. So Kolaghan's Command, I bet we're going to see discard and bring back Scavenging Ooze.
And a lot of players might be thinking, Kolaghan's Command, it has modes that kill Inkmoth Nexus on both sides. It's 2 mana inefficient. You just have to do this. And getting a clock going, Scavenging Ooze also lets her leave up Fatal Push Lightning Bolt going forward.
That's exactly what I like about it. Getting Ooze back in her hand, she wants to leave up this Bolt and push. So the way she does it is by having a very low mana investment threat. Scavenging Ooze was great the first time. It's going to be great again. It also is going to keep those Become Immenses in DeBruin's deck in check.
And that was DeBruin's discard. That Become Immense was not coming online anytime soon.
If he's discarding it, my thought is he already has one. 5th land activates Inkmoth Nexus. This is the window for him.
See how hard he shoves.
Yeah. If he just shoves for 1, Jadine will probably not react. She'll just take 1 poison. She's gonna make John start the fight. He'll swing. Here's Groundswell. He's played a land, so this is lethal. All right, game on.
This is where you want a lightning bolt.
Right, because you need to bolt here. Does it matter which one she leads on?
You want it to be. It generally doesn't matter because of the spells that follow up. But the lightning bolt's gonna be bad against another Groundswell. If you save that one for later.
Lightning bolt to go for it. Another Groundswell for DeBruin.
Gotta push.
Push. If he's got a 3rd piece. Yeah. Blossoming Defense. He's got her. Game 1, John DeBruin.
Yep, that's just too much. And Jadine drew several of her 1-mana removal spells there, but she needed a 4th.
So is the issue that the clock wasn't fast enough? If John can interact that heavy, it doesn't feel like she has enough removal.
Yeah, she just doesn't really get better at 1-mana interaction post-sideboard. One thing she does gain is Fulminator Mage, which makes her better at fighting against Inkmoth Nexus.
Yeah, let's look at some of the things in her sideboard. So 3 Fulminator Mage are available. 3 Fulminator Mage are available, and I do like that against the Inkmoth Nexus. There's some other things decent here too. Engineered Explosives against non-Nexus can actually help her out in the fight, as that one doesn't really get protected by pump spells.
Yeah, Golgari Charm also pretty good. The deck's full of 1/1s. And a card that I think you're going to be impressed by if she draws it is actually Collective Brutality. This is not a matchup where the life gain actually matters, but -2/-2 tends to kill all the creatures except for Inkmoth Nexus. And also stripping a spell from the hand. You're getting 2 very valuable modes for 2 mana with Collective Brutality in the matchup.
Like that a lot too. So Jadine will have more removal and better removal when we go to the sideboarded games. We'll be back with that in just a minute. All right, so sideboarded games about to begin here for John DeBruin and Jadine Klomparens. Jadine certainly improves out of sideboard, gets rid of stuff like Bloodbraid Elf, expensive things, more removal, comes in. But John actually has some ways to fight back here. 2 Spellskite, 3 Nature's Claim, 2 Cage, 2 Pulse, 2 Finks, Pithing Needle, Shaper Sanctuary, Dispel, and Hurkyl's Recall. About 3 I like here, and they're the anti-removal cards.
Yeah, Spellskite's pretty great at fighting over, specifically Lightning Bolt is just exceptional against Lightning Bolt. Shaper Sanctuary is very good in the matchup. And then both Kitchen Finks and Pulse of Marasa are pretty interesting. The ability to just rebuy your threats is really good in the grindy matchups. Kitchen Finks, you can fight over removal spells with that. Having access to a Dispel is really good against Fatal Push and Lightning Bolt as well, though it doesn't hit most of the Jund cards, so I'm actually off of that one.
I was interested about that one, and they've moved away from Abrupt Decay some, so it was close. But yeah, you don't want to be caught with a dead card in your hand against Jund. That's playing into their game plan way too well.
Yeah, it's not even that you can't counter Abrupt Decay, it's that there's only 5 1-mana spot removal spells.
Yeah, and let's see, out of the board, she ups it maybe to 6 with Golgari Charm.
You already have counterplay to that kind of stuff, and then the deck just has creatures, planeswalkers, sorceries.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll Thought Seize your Pump Spell and leave you with Dispel, and you're just like, what are we doing?
Exactly. It's very narrow. If we're talking about a deck like Jeskai, I like Dispel a lot.
Okay, that makes sense. So Jadine will be on the play here for game number 2. Does feel like that play draw matters. If she's on the play the last game, maybe she finds a window to make an extra threat. Problem is she was just, that 5 poison happened pretty early. She tapped out for Ooze, that cost her 5 poison, and then she couldn't really tap out again.
Game 1, Inkmoth Nexus is really oppressive. She just can't do anything on her turn that would be able to destroy the Nexus. The access to the Fulminator Mage actually swings things a little bit.
Well, let's look at this. Game 2, Inquisition of Kozilek. She will see 3 lands, one of which is Dryad Arbor, 1 creature threat, Glistener Elf, and then it's 3 pump and protection spells. It's Blossoming Defense, Vines of Vastwood, and Apostle's Blessing.
This is so much defense that even if Jadine has a few removal spells, you probably just reach for the Glistener Elf anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say here. Glistener Elf seems like a great card to, like, that's what I'd want to take.
It's useful to know that John has drawn the Dryad Arbor. It lets you know that your Liliana of the Veil will be good when you think it's good.
Ryan, she's going to take Blossoming Defense. What's your read on that?
That one is the most efficient pump spell that actually adds damage.
It was the best of the 3. I'll just call it as it is.
Yeah.
So does that mean you think she's pretty long on removal?
That would be my assumption.
John casts Noble Hierarch for the turn, so she still has good information. That was his draw. I wonder if she'll even fight over this. Or maybe just let John have Noble Hierarch.
It gives John a mana advantage when it comes to casting Glistener Elf and protecting it multiple times, so it is a reasonable target for a removal spell.
Raging Ravine, Inquisition of Kozilek for Jadine. Now will she take the Glistener Elf, or is it more pump? Yeah, now she'll take the Elf. Leaves John with Vines, Apostle's Blessing, and 2 lands.
Yeah, the Vines is good. I would be surprised if there were other spells if Jadine's ever taking Apostle's Blessing.
Yeah, that one doesn't add any damage. Dryad Arbor, play for John, attacks for 1, Jadine to 19. This game feels much better for the Jund player, though.
Right. It's important to remember that Infect can win sometimes with regular damage. The Jund mana base, though, not very painful.
It's slow, but not painful.
Right. So you're pretty good against just regular damage.
Yeah, we see a second creature land for Jadine. I mean when I say it's slow. But yeah, she's still at 19.
Yep.
Vines, Apostle's Blessing, and land. The last 3 cards in John's hand. See Jadine tracking that as well. Says go. Believe she has Collective Brutality.
Yeah, and at this point, the spells in John's hand she's not concerned about.
Yeah. Shocks for Breeding Pool to John, and then he passes after hitting with Noble Hierarch. Jadine, you see she has this Fatal Push. Just not interested. Not right yet. Not right now.
Yeah, she can get more for that.
There's no flash infect creature. So Jadine, if she has Bloodbraid Elves still in, actually can just cast one here. She'll cast Fulminator Mage, though, and that's pretty nice.
Yep, that one's going to cover a future Inkmoth Nexus reasonably well. John, of course, can animate in response and have some disruptive spells, though Jadine definitely has some instances available.
Got our first match result here, and that's the 1 versus 8. Our Panza player, Andrew Wolbers, the overall 1 seed. In 3, he is the winner over Colin Roundtree, which means he is now watching this match as he'll be taking on the winner of it.
Dryad Arbor coming in and a second Noble Hierarch here.
Yeah, it's a 2/3. I don't think Jadine wants to, even now you see, she's not going to spend that Fulminator Mage on Dryad Arbor.
Yeah. And she knows about multiple protective spells already.
Yeah. Just waiting for that Golgari Charm and then really do a number on this board.
That would be good.
Only one copy. Not sure if it's in Jadine's hand. Down to 14. She's got to start watching out for regular damage.
Yeah, already knows about Vines of the Vastwood. There's the 2 Exalted triggers. The damage is starting to come in at a reasonable clip.
Yep. So we'll keep an eye on that. She needs a damage threat. You see Liliana the Veil, though, in hand. That's not a bad one at all. But she doesn't have a... She only has 2 black mana, so if she casts Liliana the Veil, she's going to have to take down Fatal Push for the turn. I'm not sure she's willing to do that.
Yeah, and the Edict effect is not very impactful on this battlefield.
Yeah, maybe it's not the worst. I mean, it's still a card. Here's Liliana. Spell Pierce from John. Immediately, Jadine lets that get countered. She could have played a Forest to pay for it, but I believe she wanted to discard the Forest to Liliana.
Right.
Which is why she did not.
Yeah, unfortunate to run into that Spell Pierce.
Yeah. Spell Pierce, so 4 cards now for John. He'll attack for 2 more with the Arbor.
3.
You're right, 3, Jadine to 11. Can't Fulminator Mage here. She could block and Fulminator Mage. It might eat a Vines. I think she says block. Ooh, this is before damage to become immense. If she Fulminators, it's going to get Vinesed with Kicker. So right now it's 3. Make that 9. Jadine goes to 5.
Yeah, that is dicey.
Don't think she wants to. Yeah.
If she's not leading with Lightning Bolt, that tells John that she doesn't have it, so.
Infect's just a scary deck to play against.
You're not wrong.
Just got to figure out, now that Apostle's Blessing's a problem.
She does still have that Collective Brutality, so she can go to grab a card out of the hand. Given that she's... So you're not going to get the creature with the Collective Brutality. You can still escalate, though, and then you'll get both interactive spells out because he'll have to use one there, and then you'll get the other one with the Duress effect.
Yeah, I like that a lot. So the Duress and Killer Creature. Do you want to go for the Arbor or one of the Hierarchs?
Probably the Arbor.
Maybe. The Arbor can be hit by Fulminator, so it's close. So yeah, it looks like a single escalated Collective Brutality is going to be the play for Jadine. Or make that double escalated. Yeah, Drain to kill Noble Hierarch Duress.
Also, if you still have any playmat vouchers in your possession, come trade us for playmats.
She's just trying to trade all the cards away and then hope to win the top deck war. And when you're playing John, that's not a bad strategy. John will use a mana from Noble Hierarch.
Also might just be floating the green.
Sure.
He's thinking whether or not he wants to do that. And because Brutality double targets, the protection spell wouldn't counter the entire effect. It's actually going to go ahead and Blossoming Defense the Hierarch, and then it's back down to the 2 cards that Jadine knows about.
So we have...
And the Vines, definitely the better of the 2 cards.
Okay, so which one do you want to take? She takes the Vines of Vastwood.
And down to just 1 card in hand for Jadine.
Yeah, it's Fatal Push. Apostle's Blessing and 1 other for DeBruin. He's going to attack with Dryad Arbor. Here's like some Exalted triggers, and Jadine just going to go to 2. Quickly goes to 2. Make that 4. There was a life gain off the Collective Brutality, so that makes it a more comfortable life total. It's 2 hits, not 1.
Right.
What's Jadine going to have?
And then going forward, she can actually use the Treetop Village to block if she has the mana.
Ooh, Thoughtseize, down to 2. That means both Noble Hierarchs are lethal now? Another Vines with Apostle's Blessing. She'll take the Vines.
And at this point, really, any non-land card, and if the Lands Ink Pod Nexus it counts, most of John's decks just good top decks.
Now hold on here. It's Pendelhaven from John. Pendelhaven, pumps Dryad Arbor. Jadine still has Treetop Village. If it wasn't Pendelhaven there, she had a better play.
Yeah.
She's going to block with Fulminator Mage. And then Fatal Push. Okay, blocks with Fulminator Mage, uses Fulminator Mage on the land. John gives protection, then she pushes.
Notably, the Pendelhaven can't pump Noble Hierarchs.
Yeah, so they're just 2/3s. Her 3/3 technically does something here, as we see Inkmoth Nexus from John. She has stabilized-ish. I don't know. It's close.
Right, kind of on this life total thing, but that Inkmoth Nexus, it is the first Infector, but it won't take long to close with 2 Hierarchs.
Yeah, 4 poison a turn.
Yep.
Spellskite.
Ugh.
Okay, well that might be fine. Activate Noble, activate Inkmoth, make it a 2/3, make it a 4/5, Jadine to 4 poison. We're going the other way now.
Spellskite makes it tough to kill that Inkmoth Nexus.
Yeah, Golgari Charm would be a really nice draw for Jadine. Wait until that Pendelhaven's activated and then just sweep away. It has 1 in the board. If it's in, it'll work for her. Doesn't target.
Just looking a little worse every turn, though.
Yeah, agree. She doesn't have a threat, and that was what we saw the first game. As the first game, she just couldn't hold up enough mana to make one. In this game, she's never had one. Noble Hierarch again from John. That means this would be a 9-point poison swing. Here's Inkmoth Nexus. Targets it with Pendelhaven. Attack, no Golgari Charm, so here's 9 poison. Jadine goes to 9. Tries again and extends the hand. She's got nothing. John DeBruin, he's her winner here with Infect 2 games to 0. So both players here winning their rematches. He's going to go on to the